Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We got Science Bob on the hot seat with a lot of UFO news going on, and we're going to have a good time with him tonight. So let us say hello first to Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position. Race fan with a silver, Tim Mothman and his goatee sharing a bronze medal tonight. So thank you very, very much. We're going to have a lot of good fun tonight as we say hello to the rest of you. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because when you got Science Bob on, he always needs to be nice and lubed. So Mel is lubing up the top of Science Bob's head as we speak. Thank you, Mel, for the dirty work. Give yourself a shot as well. Race fan, how you doing? Luscious Jules, nice to see you. Thunderhead, always a pleasure. Necessary Dialogue and Robert Lamoth, good to have you here. Michael Morris, the attorney at large, thank you for joining us as we continue on with our roll call. And Trucker Andrew, nice to see you tonight. Lisa Smith and Lightwalkers. Lightwalkers will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Paula Fost, how are you? Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, nice to have you here. Paranormal Discussions, Mickey, welcome. And Skip to my Lou, good morning to you. Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah. I love you, my dear. I hope you had a great day. I hope you have a great night listening to Science Bob, and I look forward to your text message in the morning. Thank you, my dear. I love you. Love her so much. Scrolling on down, up next we have, let's see here, T-Bone, my man. What's happening, buddy? And, well, Science Bob's in the chat room, too. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, Science Bob will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. If you make eye contact, he will not sign. That's his rule. It's in his contract. So just beware of that, okay? Scrolling on down, we have next, Jaquetta. How are you tonight? And who is next here? Stargazer is next. Forrest Louis right after that. Thank you for coming on in. Whistling Mike, how you doing? And who is next on our list here? Well, let's scroll on down a little bit more. And a little bit more. And a little bit more to find United We Stand. And Algaray over on Twitch, so excited for Science Bob, did 250 photon torpedo push-ups in 7.5 minutes. He was cruising with that tonight. See, that's what happens when you get a little photon in the blood right there. You just move faster. Good job, buddy. What in tarnation? How are you tonight? As we continue on with our roll call, we have Undead Jed. Thanks for coming on in. And who is next? Pam Harris is next. Jay Trueseeker, nice to see you. Benno, how you doing, buddy? And who is next here? We got them, got you. And Pam Harris again. T-Bone, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you, T-Bone, my man. I love you. And, yeah, let's have some fun tonight. Let's do that. Smoky Mountain, how you doing? Welcome. And Jose Sanchez, fresh off a birthday, welcome. And Operation Shutdown. And Jesus Fire Eyes, how you doing? Oh, that's Zaddy. F.U. Zaddy, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you here. And let's get the radio side going. Hold on. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're going to have a lot of fun with Science Bob talking UFOs coming on up. Maybe a little Bigfoot as well. Yeah, maybe. Let's change it on up a little bit here. We'll do a little bit of Bigfoot. Millennium, my man, how you doing? As we are in our YouTube roll call, there's Desert Rat. And B, nice to see you. Mike Rivers, good to have you here. As we scroll on down and say hello to Paramarv. Candace Helfrich, always love it when you're here. Thank you. Fap Nuts, the Temu version of Great Nuts. How you doing? And where are we here? We got I'm Hardcore over on X. Vasily Shin or Vasily Shine, welcome to SOR chat. I think that was the name. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it. We have 10 seconds, Science Bob. 8 seconds. 6 seconds. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Go to cariboucon.com. Get your VIP tickets today for September 18th through 20th in beautiful Caribou region of British Columbia. We're going to get into some science, some UFOs, and maybe even a little Bigfoot. Our resident scientist, Science Bob, is here for the next couple of hours to go over these major topics. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off. Right after that, Terry Hall and his amazing mustache will be here for the weird news of the week. So sit back, relax. We got this one handled as Dr. Bob McGwier, known around these parts as Science Bob, comes in each and every time around this month as the resident scientist of Spaced Out Radio. Science Bob joins the show to explore the scientific side of the paranormal, supernatural, UFO, UAP phenomena. Each episode features a guest sometimes, or it's just me and Science Bob, to talk about real-world data, evidence, and government approaches to this subject. Why not? It's what everybody is talking about in our field. What are they doing? You know what? That's enough intro. You know Science Bob by now. Let's bring him on in. Science Bob, it is always good to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Staying busy, pretty healthy. I can live with it. 72 years old and feel like I'm 50.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, we could go in a couple different directions here tonight, Science Bob, because there is some big stories going on in the UFO world. But I want to start off with this Bigfoot story in Ohio. Okay. Now, in the last 120 hours plus, there have been 8 sightings of Sasquatch literally going from Lake Erie heading towards Pennsylvania. And this is really unheard of. And I don't know if this is a hoaxer who is going out and in a costume and making these areas, because most people pretty ignorant about the whole idea of seeing Sasquatch, and that's no offense to them, or if we really have some sort of migration happening with these creatures. Bob, I know you've been following this story.
Well, it caught my eye on several places because of how odd it was. And then I listened to, two or three friends of mine, like our mutual friend in Tennessee that's been to Bigfoot, and he's going, what the heck is this? So I don't know whether it's a bellwether for a crisis or whether they've got something going on. They're having a big meeting in the woods in Pennsylvania. I don't know what it is.
There must be a Bigfoot conference going on, and the humans aren't invited. That's
Yep.
what I mean.
Yep.
But what? Here's another thing, Bob. Here's another thing. Just putting this out there. We just had the Winter Olympics in Italy. Maybe the Bigfoot Olympics are coming up.
Well, I had no idea there was Olympics because I didn't watch a second of it. But anyway, I would love to see the Bigfoot Olympics. I would love to see the Bigfoot go down the giant slalom.
I want to see, if I were to watch some Bigfoot, I want to see Bigfoot hockey or Bigfoot.
Oh,
curling.
my goodness. You want to be the Bigfoot hockey enforcer.
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome. That would absolutely be awesome. But, 8 sightings, creatures as tall as 10 feet, as small as 6.5 feet have been seen. The 6.5 foot, this is where I question the 6.5 foot report, because the lady who saw this creature on the road in front of her vehicle literally said that it looked very thin. To me, that sounds like an outfit.
Costume.
Somebody's wearing an outfit, and
because they aren't thin. They have well-defined musculature, and you can see it to the point where there's no way to fake it in a costume.
Agreed. And if you use the Patterson-Gimlin film as, say, the Bible of how one walks, the one thing humans are really bad at is trying to copy the Sasquatch walk. It never looks natural. It never looks right. We just can't do it. We can't.
And that was a female.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in your overall thoughts, do you think we're dealing with a bunch of people here who are maybe trying to get some TikTok or YouTube clips? Or do you think maybe we do have something going on?
TikTok is a curse, so I'm going to hope there's something going on.
You're very talkative tonight.
Well, I mean, the United States cabal has forced China to sell them TikTok, and it is a disaster since these people bought it. It's nonstop malicious ads. It's just awful. I took it off my phone.
Unfortunately, I have to have it. I'm not a big fan of TikTok out there, but I do have to have it on my phone. Let's move topics here, because I do know that you want to get into a very serious topic here. And this is about the insanely weird disappearance of General Neil McCaslin. So about a couple weeks ago, Neil McCaslin said to his wife he was going out for a walk and a jog. He's 68 years old, retired Major General in the United States Air Force, does not take his wallet, does not take his keys, does not take his phone, and completely vanishes.
Off the face of the earth.
There are no clues. There are nothing going on about this. I mean, everybody seems a little bit stumped to what has been released right now. But I mean, we don't know what the FBI or the military branches that are investigating this, because look, military branches are investigating this because this guy had some deep secrets in the back of his brain. Bob, what do you know about this?
Oh, I think it's foul play. I don't know what it's for. We learned today that a woman that worked for him before disappeared on a hike on the same day. I don't know what's going on. I hope he didn't run off with her. That would be really, really bad. But I'm just telling you, this is not on the up and up, and the insiders have now mobilized. They are going, uh-oh, what the heck? And his wife made an announcement that he did not have dementia. There was a picture taken of him 2 days before up on the mountain with somebody, and they were hiking up. They were rock walking up a mountain. No, he is not. He did not have dementia.
Here's the thing. We first learned of Neil McCaslin's name in the UFO world through the WikiLeaks emails between Tom DeLonge and John Podesta.
Correct.
And that's how we kind of learned that this guy was involved and had knowledge of the UFO programs, what those programs were. It's never been really clearly defined. Many believe it had maybe to do with crash retrievals and parts of these craft that have been dissected. Others believe it might have anything to do with alien contact whatsoever. But we do know that he was somebody in the know. Although outside of that, from what we know, he hasn't really played in the UFO world since then, Bob. So
correct.
Is it
when the insiders that were moving toward disclosure did not get the precedent they wanted, they backed off. They wanted Hillary Clinton to win and made a plan to do disclosure when she got into office. And when she did not get into office and Trump got elected, they did not quite know what to do. So Tila Stars Academy got pushed forward, and it's been a long time getting to a decent place. But I got to tell you, the general public now believes in this stuff and is regularly, the level of laughter and derision has fallen dramatically in public. People talk. I hear people talking about stuff in public. People that and they don't know who I am, but they're still talking about it. And this is at random. It's really interesting.
Do you think his disappearance is foul play, or do you think it has something to do with UFOs? Because the way the UFO community is, we like to blow things out of proportion at times. And just because this guy has a tie-in to the community, maybe they think that it was something that was, government initiated, or maybe even a different country initiated. Now, I did find it interesting, Bob, that in the statement that his wife released that would like wildfire over X, right at the end, she said she didn't think it was aliens coming to get him. I don't know why she would throw in that kind of humor in such a weird situation, but trauma makes people do strange things. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. Just your overall thoughts. Do you think it was just somebody picked him up and said, hey, let's grab this guy? Or do you think it was something nefarious from the government, or maybe some sort of adversary? Or was it aliens?
He was accustomed to looking over his shoulder, given what he did. And so I can't see anything that says this is not nefarious. If he was harmed or dead, we would have already found him. And they've looked in every culvert, in every drainage ditch. They've looked everywhere. And to me, wherever he has left the area. A team of remote viewers I asked to do something, blind target, pretty much said he had gone into an underground facility. There are underground facilities, lots of them near Albuquerque. So Albuquerque has the Kirtland Air Force Base that surrounds Sandia Laboratories and takes care of its security. And just to the west of Kirtland Air Force Base and Sandia Labs are the mountain revetments where nuclear weapons are stored. That place is covered up with stuff that's underground. It's under constant security. Nothing about this smells right.
Now, General McCaslin grew up in an Air Force. Let's give a little bit of a rundown of him. He grew up in an Air Force family. His father was killed in a flying accident when he was young. A mother eventually remarried another airman. Neil McCaslin was a major general in the U.S. Air Force. When he retired, he was an astronautical engineer, former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory. He is currently the director of technology at Applied Technology Associates.
Yep.
You know, this is a guy who went to the United States Air Force Academy, graduating with a bachelor's of science degree in why can't I say that word? Astronautical engineering in 1979. He received a full scholarship from the Hertz Foundation, attended MIT for a master's degree in aeronautical engineering, estimation and controls. I mean, this is a smart guy. This is a guy who really knows how to use his brain here, Bob.
And the last job he had, the one you named, if he had a medical problem that affected his mental capacities, he would not be in the job. Not only that, given the secrecy held, he would be in a confining care facility.
In your estimation, do you think it was another government that took him? Do you think it was somebody because of the UFO story? I mean, people want to try and tie this to the UFO story, Bob.
I think it's more likely he was taken by bad actors than it is about UFOs. I don't know, though. We need some clue to make a decision.
And currently, there is no other evidence. Like, nothing has been released. Okay. He's been gone for 2 weeks. I mean, you know it's serious with this guy, and they grabbed the wrong person.
I think the sheriff's department has voted. They've canceled the silver alert.
But either way, when you look at the branches that are looking in for this guy, McCaslin, you not only have police, you have the FBI, you have a couple of other alphabet agents.
Well, you have AFOSI, Air Force.
AFOSI is looking into it from the Air Force. I mean, there are a lot of people who are very concerned about this.
As they should be.
What can happen there?
Well, I mean, if there will be a massive security investigation going on right now, contemporaneous with the search for him, about all the things he was currently involved in, and there will be a damage assessment done to what he has worked on or managed or whatever that will assume he has been taken. So all sorts of really difficult, detailed stuff will have to be done, assuming he has been taken by a nefarious entity. It's just the way it works. You assume the worst, so that when you find it out that it's a whole lot better than the worst, you're joyful. But if you don't assume the worst and it turns out worse than you assume, then you're in trouble. That's just the way it works.
I find that just so bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Has this happened before?
Yes, there have been people gone missing, and later they were found later, but nothing quite like this. Normally, when people get sick or ill or die or whatever, the body is found within 48 hours if they're very high priority, classified knowledge and all this other stuff. They when I was inside, if I did not report for work by 11 a.m., they called out the troops. They called an FBI. They would call in the FBI, etc. You don't make the mistake of not calling them but once, and because you are told the cost of them turning all that on.
Frightening.
It is. But look, we know, and we go in with our eyes open because they tell you all this kind of stuff when you sign the NDAs. You know what your obligations are. They make sure you do. So later on, you can't say, you never told me that. Oh, no. You sign forms in triplicate and all this other stuff, getting told all this stuff. And you're trained on security requirements and your obligations 4 times a year.
With his former staffer going missing as well, do you think there's possibly a tie to this?
I do not believe in coincidences for something like this, and neither will counterintelligence and law enforcement. They will seek to find the relationship between her disappearance and his.
I mean, but to leave without his cell phone, I realize there's not a lot of people, especially in the boomer side of things, that are, and I hate that term. I don't know why I used it. I apologize. There are a lot of people in that age category who still don't rely on a phone, don't have a phone married to their body. You know, the Gen X and on up, we are always, our phone is always within a hand reach away. I mean, does it surprise you that he would go on any sort of walk without his phone, or do you find that suspicious?
I find this is very suspicious. So Whistling Mike is in the room. He's a professional, and he said, "I've nailed it exactly." He knows. I'm telling you, we know what's going on, and the considerations that are being made. It's just no. It's bad, and we don't all, and the worst will be assumed until we know an answer. Hey, Mennonite Abe.
Is there any way that he comes out breathing and alive after this?
I don't see it.
I'm sorry?
I don't see it. I don't see him coming out of this alive.
That's really sad.
It is, but I mean, it's been too long. Whatever it is, it's bad now. Very bad.
I'm going to bring this up. We got about 2 minutes to go before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Bob McGwier, a.k.a. Science Bob, is our guest tonight on the show. I want to bring this up again because it still kind of bothers me, and I kind of hoping to get a little bit more answer from you. What was your thoughts when his wife put out that statement and at the end of it said about the aliens taking him?
She was asked to do that. That's what it said to me. Look, I want you to understand how it works inside. When you have a really high level clearance, let me tell you what security assumes: that your wife, husband, significant other, whatever, is at least partially witting and therefore aware of some of the stuff that is a secret. Now, you're not supposed to do that. They assume everyone does. I mean, it's hard to keep stuff from your spouse. And even if it's inadvertent, spouses overhear stuff. And so they assume that she is witting. And I assure you, counterintelligence has put her through the ringer, trying to get stuff out of her about what could have happened. And they will investigate every sentence she says, every sentence, parse every word. It will not be pleasant, but she's trying to find her husband, and I guarantee you she is going along with what they say.
It just seems odd to bring up the whole, maybe he was taken by aliens in such a weird situation. Well,
again, remember, he was part of the cabal, and what they like to do is make fun of things that have UFO in it. It's part of the cover-up.
Still odd. Bob, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are already at the bottom of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio. We have Science Bob for another 90 minutes on the show. We're going to get into a little bit of UFO news coming on up. Okay. Where we're going? How about Eric Burlison? The
That'd
congressman.
be great.
We're
Boy,
going there.
he is real. He told a great story today. He told the narrative.
All right, we're clear.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the restroom.
All right, buddy. I'll take you out. Jeremy Jones, how's the vacation? J-Cat, how are you? Is anybody coming to UFO Con next week in San Francisco? I thought there were a couple people in our chat room that said they were going. Jeremy Jones is on the Kokomo cruise, Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, he wants to take you to Bermuda, Bahamas. Come on, pretty mamas. Key Largo, Montego. Baby, why don't we go down to Kokomo? Right? It's all about Kokomo. Gorgeous Kim Jellin isn't even going to be there. She's like, Dave's coming to town. I'm going across the country. I'm going to floss my teeth when I'm there. That's what she said. You don't make that stuff up. Just saying. Do, do, do. We got about 3 minutes. Oh, I know what I need to do here. 1 second. Delete. Oh, don't want that. I'm trying to delete these because they're bugging me. They're bugging me. One more. One more. And we can add that one in. There we go. That works. About minute 30. Check out the new posters, everybody. I'll show you at the next break. I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show you right now. What the hell? There it is. Caribou Con tickets. I want to see y'all there. Me, Samantha, Merle, Lee, B. Arthur, Christian McLeod, Courtney Marcassani, R. Keith Andrews, Paisley Town, Jacob Rice, the ladies from Destination Haunted, Kelly, Karyn, and Leanne, Grant Cameron, keynote speaker. Look how good that is. That's a good loop right there. A good loop right there. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? This is the place you want to come. Come hang out with us. Thank you tonight to Mennonite Abe, Pam Harris, Candace, and T-Bone for the great super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Shop at our store, everybody. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And here we go. Here we go, the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us as we get ready for Science Bob here, as we get ready to talk some UFOs. I want to remind all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, our archives are always free on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. All right, here we go. Science Bob, Dr. Bob McGwier, hanging on out. We are going to talk about Congressman Eric Burlison because he is saying all the right things, Bob.
It's awesome.
UFOs and UAP. Still separating them, which is good. Here we go. What do you got for us?
He has got a pair. Let me put it kindly. So he was doing work in consultation with the White House. And he went in and talked to White House staffers on the National Security Council. And he says, look, just let me ask you something. I want to go see these places. And the president has ordered that stuff get open. I want you help me get into these places so I can see stuff. And the staffer smirked. And he said, Burlison said, and you could see on his face, he was telling the truth. He says, I asked him, what, do you think this is funny? And the staffer went, oh, no, don't get me wrong. I want to go with you. So he and the staffer and an entourage have gone to their first place, and it was a clear test given to them by the insiders because they could tell what kind of work had gone on there, but they saw nothing unusual. And this was clearly a test to see how things would go, if they would act like idiots or whether they would behave. And Burlison said all of that out loud. So for their ears and ours, he announced that he understood the rules under which he was operating and he would obey them. And so from here on, I'm expecting him to see much more interesting stuff. I think he passed the test.
I would like to see him do something with this. I don't believe that he's going to get UFOs. I think he's more going to get UAP. Okay. And I don't think they want to give up those secrets. I really don't. And here's the thing, Bob. This is the test that Burlison is going to be put in publicly. Here he was bragging that he got permission to go see one place. We don't know what's there. We don't know where it is. We don't know anything. Now, Mr. Transparency is going to have to decide how much transparency is he going to show.
Well, I got to tell you this. He won't do much until he's got a bag full of jewels. Because when he starts, the access will stop. So he's got to wait until he has something. And I agree with you that the very last thing they're going to show him, if he manages to go all the way down the rabbit hole, is the crashed non-human craft. We will see UAPs. We will not see Roswell.
I think you're bang on. I think you're absolutely bang on with that. It's too dangerous right now. It's too dangerous and too early in the story. The thing that kind of bugs me about it is I don't know why he would go public with that, because all he's doing is putting rancid meat on a bone, hoping that somebody bites it. And he knows the UFO community is going to be all over this, that, oh, he's going to see a craft. He's going to see
he's going to ignore the UFO community because he has a bigger goal. He does not care what we think.
So what's the purpose in talking publicly about that?
To announce to the insiders that he understood the restrictions and followed them. This was a test by them for him in the White House. They passed. They were never going to roll out the Roswell craft on the first visit.
Understandable.
What I would love is when this is done, before Trump leaves office, there is an acknowledgement that Roswell was a non-human intelligence operated craft and not a friggin' balloon. We have friends that have written several books. To me, the content of those books, highly researched, heavily referenced, full of receipts, are conclusive. It was not a mogul balloon. You don't have a flatbed truck with something under a tarp roll through downtown Roswell for a balloon.
I would agree with you. I've said that many a time ever since Lou Elizondo told me that. Right? You know, I mean, the other thing I want to get into about Burlison is he also came out last week talking about the death threats that he has allegedly received if he names certain names within this subject.
If you mention these two names, they will probably kill you.
I don't
pretty brutal.
That statement, Bob.
What's that?
I don't fully understand that statement. We were trying to throw that statement around the other night on UFO Max with Grant. I don't know who the two people are. Are these on that list that are highly classified? Is that what
I think that they are part of the legacy program and high up. If he names a legacy program member that's high up, that could really get him in trouble. I'm going to tell you, well, we know a story that says how difficult it is on the inside. We know that the biologist that worked on the inside and had regular contact with a non-human intelligence was told by the left hand, which he worked for, that he could go give a talk in public and say certain things. The right hand, who were also involved heavily in leadership, did not like that he was going to go out and talk, and they had him beat to a pulp, where he was in the hospital for months and now is living in seclusion in Canada, guarded. Yeah, it is a difficult thing to live in that kind of pressure.
What about him then? I did find it weird, and I understand politicians and others get death threats all the time. It's sad that we live in that type of society, but it is something that we know. Yet here he is after coming out saying he's received death threats about this subject. And one of his next public pictures is sitting at a spring training game watching his beloved St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep.
I found that a little odd.
Well, so I think he believes that his security threat has abated, but that's just silliness. And the person who is warning him about what's going on has given him anecdotes about his personal experiences, and that's David Grush, who found his home invaded, his wife assaulted, with vehicular assault, all sorts of stuff. And I tell you, look, the insiders are playing for keeps. They're playing for keeps.
When you're talking insiders, for people who may not understand, let's break that down.
Okay. There are we know from, I knew already, but we now know from UFO Gerb and his recent interviews, the breakdown that he has been able to do of all the different entities that are involved in the UFO secrets. And it's spread all over Hell's Half Acre. It's everywhere. And there are all sorts of things that you wouldn't suspect until he says it and tells you why it's that way. All right. So it's just difficult to assemble all of this into a whole package. And so it takes forever to get all the stakeholders together and take this stuff away. So what we now know is there's no agency head, a political appointee that is part of the controlling committee of the legacy program. They are 2 or 3 levels down, and they're permanent employees. They're not political employees. They're permanent employees, and they don't believe the temporary occupants of a political office should be involved in the secrets, and they have been enabled to have this opinion by things being classified as restricted data and classified since from birth by the Atomic Energy Act. This program, legacy program, was begun by Manhattan Project scientists under the direction of Harry Truman.
It goes that far back.
Yep. And Vannevar Bush. Vannevar Bush and Harry Truman, Edward Teller, and a bunch of others like that. They started all this. And Edward Condon, the idiot that wrote the research paper that poo-pooed UFOs and got Blue Book killed, he was the author of the Atomic Energy Act.
What about Oppenheimer?
Huh?
Oppenheimer?
No, Oppenheimer was the leader. Edward Condon wrote the law.
So why go after, it's kind of a sidebar on this, why go after Hynek, J. Allen Hynek, and Project Blue Book? They were getting too close?
No, they didn't want to F with it anymore. Let's get this effing crap off our plate. And they found an opportunity to do it with the Edward Condon Committee because he was bought and sold and underneath their thumb. He had lost his security clearance and he got it back by playing ball.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
And he also was tasked with destroying Oppenheimer's career, and he did very well.
So with all the secrecy and the legacy program kind of trying to take over the narrative as it is right now, Bob, whether it's Burlison, whether it's Tim Burchett or Anna Paulina Luna and her conspiracy club and whoever it might be, do we look at this then as there is a great debate happening in Washington, D.C. right now on what to do with these files?
No. There's an idea of what to do, but prying them out of the hands of those who control the classification of these things is going to be very difficult because they don't believe they serve the president or the Congress. They believe the Atomic Energy Act gives the Secretary of War and the Secretary of Energy leadership of a committee of insiders who determine what can be declassified, and no other authority may intervene. Now, I wrote a very long article on X that people can go look at that does an analysis of the Atomic Secrecy Act and all of its implications for all this, and why, in my estimation, the Atomic Energy Act, when it was written, was a violation of the Constitution, the First, 14th, and a bunch of other amendments. Lack of due process, abridgment of speech. I mean, you're telling me that my mind works on a hard problem. I come up with brand new physics or mathematics, and I have to pretend like I never did it, even though I spent 10 years of my life, because they want to call it restricted data. Bud, that does not sit well with me as a scientist, and it shouldn't sit well with anyone. That's prior restraint on your First Amendment right. I don't think the atomic that, and they denied the president of the United States the right to declassify something when in the Constitution he is the ultimate authority, and they just said no, you're not. The Atomic Energy Act, crafted by clever people, have pried all of that out of your hands forever. So this will go all the way to the Supreme Court before it gets settled.
How does this affect the disclosure movement for those who believe we're on the way? We're almost there.
We're going to get something, but it'll never be everything. We are not going to get catastrophic disclosure.
What is the something in your mind? What's the science Bob something?
So it'll start with, we are not alone. We're seeing some craft. We don't know what their purpose is, but here's a couple of them you can see. And even if they know who's inside, even if they know how what they've got works, even if they know their motives, they're not going to tell us. Because servants of the people under the Constitution are allowed to lie to the people and undermine our democracy. This lying that goes on by government to those who rule them in the United States, the people rule and own the government, and they believe they have the right to lie to us. I'm ready for a constitutional convention and end that crap forever.
And that's how they bury it.
Yep. They just lie, and deny. Look, Burlison said that he and a bunch of other people got denied access almost everywhere they wanted to go until the president used a bulldozer. And Rubio was the bulldozer because he's the national security advisor.
The danger of this coming up is still a hotly contested subject for a lot of people who may be amateur to the knowledge of it all. What is the security risk here with UFOs?
Okay, so there are multiple, but the security risk is once our adversaries know something specific, like a location or what we've got from it, they will spend an army worth of money doing collection. They will unleash everything they've got to do the collection against that one thing, especially if it's major, like 0-point energy reactors or non-anti-gravity or warp bubble or whatever, materials. And I still think the problem we are having inside is we can't make the materials because whoever did it's a million years ahead of us.
Okay. So for the disclosure movement to actually happen, to make it work, to make it useful. Does that mean we're going into a soft disclosure movement that was proposed before, or is it something that we are going into a UAP disclosure and not a UFO disclosure?
I just don't know the answer, but Carl Nels and committees control disclosure has failed. They have not served us well. We need them out of our way. We need a new version directed from the White House in consultation with the adults in the room and get something done that will serve the American people by informing us of reality. Now, are they going to tell us that we were created by another entity and all they're doing here is farming us and monitoring us as they farm us? I doubt they're going to tell us that, but I believe that's the truth. How many insiders have told us they created us?
Yeah, there is that theory on it all. There really is, you know.
And a bunch of evolutionary theorists, including like Michael Masters and others, go find these events in time where massive leaps occurred that are unexplainable in the theory of evolution. They were too massive. So when you have big changes in, say, the workings of the brain and your consciousness, it takes time to assimilate into the correct form that's actually an evolutionary advantage. That takes time. The things we have seen in our evolutionary progress were sudden and jarring. And that's intervention to me. That's the only way it can be. The game theory of evolution does not allow for 10 levels of IQ in a single generation. It's just not, it just doesn't happen. First of all, let's suppose you are jumped.
Right.
Your brain is jumped, and you have multiple females you breed with. They don't have it, so it may not pass on. And what may pass on is only part of it. It takes time for these things to do. It takes multiple generations for these things to take hold.
Who's the puppeteer?
That's the very good question. And there are multiple stories from insiders. And I don't think any of them who is not all the way inside and near the top knows the actual truth. But I guarantee you we're going to find out they had a hand in our modification.
Could be. Could be not.
Could be not. I could be totally wrong. What I'm telling you is based on my view of how game theory of evolution works and what things are allowed and what things are so improbable I can't see them happening without intervention.
Now, when you're saying intervention, are you talking government intervention,
No,
media intervention?
I'm talking about non-human intelligence doing CRISPR-Cas9 on your DNA. They introduced changes that are so significant, we came out of it with a bigger cerebrums, bigger other stuff in our brains that made us intelligent.
We got about a minute to go here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Science Bob is here, Dr. Bob McGwier. And you know what? I want to make, when we go into the next hour, I want to make this the hot button topic. Okay, because you know it's one that I absolutely despise, and that is NASA. Their director recently made a comment about UFOs/UAPs. We're going to play that comment. I want to get your take on it, Bob, because as you know, and I will get into the next half hour, in this whole UFO subject, I believe NASA has been the biggest betrayer of the subject of all. They really have. Never mind the U.S. Navy, never mind the Air Force, the Pentagon. NASA has been the biggest liars through this. And I have no problem saying that. We're going to get into that next on Spaced Out Radio with Science Bob. We always appreciate when he is here. We'll continue after this. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Bobby, I'm going to put you in the green room, and we'll see you in a couple minutes, okay?
Yep.
All right. Here is the list for Caribou Con. Make sure you check it on out. Good people on there. You might recognize some. Get your tickets today, cariboucon.com. Let's bring in Science Bob. So we got about a minute 44. He might not be ready yet. Bob, turn your camera on when you're ready. There you are. And I'm just going to get this ready here, Bob. So bear with me. All right. Thank you tonight to T-Bone, Candace, Pam, and Mennonite Abe. We appreciate you. T-Bone, thank you for the generosity of gifting a membership. And Kmart, thank you for that awesome super chat. Greatly appreciate your love and support. Your blue light special chat there. We appreciate that. Shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. No ugly swag. And of course, tickets for Caribou Con officially underway. Let's get this thing going, man. I want to see you all up here in the Caribou coming on up. Rat's Ass, how you doing? Nice to see you. And who else we got? All right, not enough time. Here we go, everybody. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Daphnomancy. Daphnomancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's go to our resident scientist, Dr. Bob McGwier. We call him Science Bob around here. I want to get into NASA, okay? The reason why is NASA's administrator, Jared Isaacman, was recently asked a question on a podcast that is called Straight to the Point. And it's kind of like a television show podcast sort of thing, much that we do here. And I'm just curious. I'm going to play these comments, Bob, and I want your thoughts on them. We're playing this on YouTube for our fair use. So let's hear what he has to say and the question.
President Trump authorized classification of several records, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, UFOs, extraterrestrial life. Look, you've got access to all kinds of classified information. Do you believe that there is life outside of Earth?
I would say, and this has absolutely nothing to do with classified information, as a lifelong space enthusiast since kindergarten, having been to space twice as an astronaut, it is hard not to imagine that somewhere out there across 2 trillion galaxies and however many star systems inside them with however many exoplanets and Goldilocks zones, like, yes, I have to believe that there is life out there somewhere. Do I believe intelligent life has visited Earth? I have not seen any evidence of that whatsoever, and nothing in any like classified files or historic documentation would ever support that. I have to believe it is out there somewhere. I believe that if we are able to get to Mars and bring back samples from Mars, we will probably, with like greater than 90% confidence, have some evidence of microbial life. Now, that is not the aliens we see in the movies, but it would be a proof point that there is life outside of Earth. I think it is inevitable, only a matter of time as more probes, more telescopes go out there and we venture out farther in the solar system, we will find that there is at least biosignatures outside of Earth.
Bob, what's your thoughts on that comment?
He is being told what he has been told. I don't believe he's a liar. I think he is telling what he has been told. Now, the secret keepers in NASA are 3 levels down from the director. And they control stuff. That's their job. And they keep it away from him.
Here's my problem. There is already so much evidence of his fellow astronauts, of his fellow test pilots that NASA has had since the 60s, who have seen and recorded and reported stories. For him to sit there and say that he has not seen any evidence.
No. In the stuff he has been shown, he has not seen any evidence. We got to remember, these guys craft their language with a razor blade.
Oh, I get that. I get that. But it just goes to show how much NASA is covering up what they know. Bill Nelson, when he was the head, did the exact same thing. He acted all stunned that all these Navy pilots and Air Force pilots were seeing these things, but did not hold NASA accountable. I mean, it looks like this is another guy who has not opened up the closets at NASA to see what's there.
I don't think he has sufficient tenure to have found his way to it yet. But I'm going to tell you, how government works is somebody inside the building will come up and say, "May I whisper in your ear?" Eventually. Look, right now, NASA is in an existential crisis. It has made a effing mess out of Artemis. They drastically changed the entire program his first month in the job. They're totally changing what vehicle does what. They're totally changing the architecture of the missions, and it's going to look almost identical to the Apollo, and they're going to be 4 or 5 flights of that big rocket before they ever land on the moon. They're going to test all of the docking with SpaceX and Blue Origin and all that stuff in low Earth orbit so they can go rescue them. I mean, this is now a plan that makes sense. And of course, they're scared to death the Chinese are going to get there ahead of them and claim all of the tritium at the South Pole. Well, we'll work hard and we'll get there. And they can't control it. They can't do what they would maybe like to do. They can't do it.
If he was read in, what could he say? Anything?
If he signs a typical WooSap non-disclosure agreement, the bottom few lines are the lies you must tell if asked. And so he says, I want to be NASA director. I'll agree to lie. Why do you think I want the constitutional amendment? I do not want people required to lie to have their job.
It's just so frustrating and disappointing. You know, I mean, you don't even have to look that hard. All you got to do is go on ChatGPT or any AI program. It's going to bring it all up, all of these astronauts that have seen things, you know, and with us being just a few days away from sending another rocket to the moon, you know,
it's not that one. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. That one is going to the moon, but it won't do any of the weird stuff. It's going to be a very kind of blasé thing. It'll go a long way from the moon, but you're right. It is going to the moon. After that, the next 3 will not go to the moon.
What is the holdback of the moon?
What do you? What is the problem?
Why is it taking so long?
They are trying to land with brand new vehicles in an extremely difficult place. Have you watched all these probes try to land there and crash?
Yes.
it's really difficult to get to that place. And so, and Musk is having the same kind of problem with his big rocket that two of those that tipped over. It's too tall for where the mass is. So Musk is having to figure out how to distribute the mass correctly so he can get it to stand up right, even though if it rocks back and forth. So just this stuff is really, really intricate. And you got to have people that understand all of this leading things. So the work that's needed to make sure things are safe and functional gets done, because whoever's leading it knows it has to be done.
A lot of people will look at that and say, how are we able to do it with less technology, less understanding? And this is what is throwing a major new push the last couple of years about whether or not we actually landed on the moon, or whether it was a Stanley Kubrick film.
Okay, so we had a collection of people in the thousands. They together built the body of knowledge. It all got flushed down the drain after the Apollo program ended, and we did the shuttle and other things for 70 years or 50 years or whatever it is. We lost the knowledge. Those who had the knowledge are no longer there. You have to rebuild that knowledge from scratch by doing it. And it takes time with something this complex. The complexity is beyond people's everyday capabilities and knowledge to understand how complex this is. And we can't afford to kill astronauts, or we'll never go back.
I get that, but it also is something that happens. I mean, it's not like astronauts are actually piloting the craft anymore.
It's true, but again, the autonomous systems that will go to the moon have never flown a mission like that before. So how do you know they got the programming right? You don't. Look what happened to the Boeing capsule. The program was wrong 3 times when that thing went up. And Boeing was their premier choice for everything. The knowledge it took back then is not in Boeing and Lockheed and all those people anymore. It's gone. They're having to reconstitute it. And that takes lots of people, lots of compute, and a lot of time. They put together a capsule and blew the heat shield. The heat shield fragmented when it came back from the moon. These things, and that does nothing but breed caution and fear. And they don't want to screw up. They don't want to kill Gus Grissom, Chaffee, and White again, because it took a long time to get over it. By the time we got over it, China will be on the moon.
What about the idea, Bob, that maybe we're not supposed to go back? Or if there truly is a secret space program, that they're already there?
Except they will be where we won't see them.
So why waste the money on going back to the moon if, outside of a political stunt, if we're already there?
Okay, so what we want to do is not a political stunt. Every part of the design of this program is to leave a permanent presence on the moon where there are things we need to take ourselves into the future. So this is different. This is different. They want the public to go with them, and the public to buy in, and the public to benefit from what can be gained. People don't have a clue what it is Musk is now proposing. It is remarkable. So science fiction people will know what a Kardashev 1, 2, and 3 civilization is. Elon Musk has a plan using his Starship and Super Heavy booster to single-handedly, in under a decade, make us a Kardashev 1 civilization when 4 years ago, nobody had an idea how we would ever do it.
Explain what a Kardashev civilization is.
Kardashev was a Russian scientist that had these different levels of ability to show how advanced the civilization was. Kardashev 1 is you're using all the sun you can get to operate your planet. And what is he doing? Putting 1 million satellites in orbit to capture every ray of sun and feed it to all these artificial intelligence machines that are inside these craft, remove all of that crazy power-hungry crap from the Earth and put it in orbit and deliver power to the Earth from up there. And that will take us to taking all the power that we can get from the sun and using it on Earth. We will have pollution-free energy for the first time ever.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah. And all we could ever need, he can give us in 1 decade.
Do you believe, Bob, or have you seen any evidence over the years that we really have bases and people on the moon as we speak?
Yeah. Yep, I believe it. So people came and visited Chris Bledsoe. Some of them were from NASA. They told him stuff and showed him stuff. And their job was to keep an eye on him and keep him dead. No. They opened up to him and shared secrets. And the reason I can say that with impunity now is those people died since then.
So where do you think those alleged bases are? And
on the far side.
That is
on the far side.
On the dark side.
On the far side.
Okay. Here's the other thing. If you remember when China sent up their first rover there, okay, one of the first things that rover saw, if you remember, is like a square building. And then all of a sudden it vanished. Do you remember that?
I do indeed.
What was your thought?
They're playing cover up with us.
What was your thoughts on that?
I thought it was an artificial structure and they had seen it. They also found carbon nanotubules in the stuff they brought back. Dave, that stuff was manufactured. The complexity of the carbon nanotubules they brought back made sure that we knew that something had been there and manufactured it. There's no way known in nature for it to arise naturally.
Okay.
They have proof that a technological civilization has been on the far side of the moon.
Okay. So when you look at that structure, okay, what do you think it is? Do you think it's a man-made building? Do you think it's a rover? Do you think it's a rock?
Toward the end, they made it seem like it was a rock. It certainly didn't look like a rock in the beginning. So I think they altered what we saw. So what I saw in the beginning looks like a building, and I don't know what that is.
Like, I'm wondering if that's an Airbnb.
Exactly. Let me check in for a while. I want to play on the moon.
Right. You ready for some audience questions?
Whenever you're ready.
All right, let's get to them. So we got about 5 minutes to go. Let's start off with Jules tonight. Do you think he, as in General McCaslin, could have went into hiding voluntarily or without approval?
I do believe that is a possibility, but that would have taken quite a bit of arrangement. And I am certain that the investigators, both law enforcement and Air Force and FBI, have gone and gotten every camera video they can get in the whole area. And so it's just hard to see how he would pull it off. Now, given, and if his wife is participating in this and he left from his home and not where she said he did, then leaving that stuff behind is to leave a cold trail. So he could have been picked up at home and whisked away.
Could have been. It would be interesting to see.
And she's got to do a lot of, I don't know, I don't see this, I don't understand this. So, because she can't lie to federal officers. That's a crime.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to NHI here. These trillions of dollars that have gone to underground cities or bases were not that elaborate. What's your thoughts on the missing money? All black projects?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So, and now we have a whistleblower, high-ranking person who watched while he looked at the accounts he had control over. Money was being swept out and put billions of dollars swept out and put who knows where. It was just gone. He watched it happen, and he has testified to Congress.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Mennonite Abe is asking, Science Bob, do you think non-human intelligence could be fifth or higher dimensional beings?
I do. And I continue to come back to my favorite example of a craft when the door was open and they got inside, the inside was larger than the outside. That can only be done in a place that is higher dimensionality than space-time.
But that's just, no offense, an anecdotal story.
I believe who told me.
Oh, I do too. I've had people tell me, and I believe them on that too, because too many people have said that who've been experiencers.
Yep.
All right, let's go to T-Bone here. Through all this, what's the Space Force up to these days?
They have their hands full preventing Russia and China for disabling our on-orbit assets. We coordinate our military using a fleet of very expensive, very complicated satellites, a couple of inexpensive anti-satellite weapons, and we're deaf, dumb, and blind.
You don't think they're in the UFO game at all right now?
They may be, but what I know about is not. But I don't know everything. Well, look, I am certain they're in the UFO game, and I'll give you my evidence. I went to SCU in 2022, and the NRO and NGA asset, guess who the NGA asset was?
What does NGA stand for?
The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency.
Who the asset is? Well, my first inclination would be either Gary Nolan or Avi Loeb. Science Bob, are you there? I think he froze up. Kind of an interesting time to freeze up, don't you think? We'll get him back going here in just a little bit. It is interesting to see how these agencies and everything seem to work about covering up this subject. There are enough people out there right now where, yes, it's all verbal evidence. Yes, it's all their opinionated evidence, but at least it's something to show that there are some issues going on with the space program and what is really coming down here, what is on the moon, what is all around? We don't know. We don't know what they know. We want to. We think we have a grasp on it. But is it just posturing? Is it games? Is it something more than that? This is Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right. There we go. Yes, please put your questions in capital letters. It is easier for me to see. If you haven't yet already, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. Helps with our algorithms. I'm getting caught up in the chat room here. Where is your question, Whistling Mike? Where is your question? Hold on. Bob is texting me here. He lost internet. All right, bear with me, guys. Okay, bear with me. I just gotta get my other microphone here. All right. You want to speak for a second, Bob?
Yeah, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Science Bob over here in Maryland trying to patch around my insane network going up and down.
All right. What's going on there?
It's just gone. I have zero internet.
Yeah, that was weird timing.
Yep.
All right. There we go. Testing 1, 2. I just got to make sure I'm not getting any mic bleed over here. Testing
Yep.
1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. Just going to push that a little bit more away from me. There we go. All right. There we go. Yeah, good old Rich Hoffman. Yeah. Good old Rich Hoffman. Come back anytime. You can hear me okay, Bob?
I hear you great.
Are you on the shitter right now?
Hang on a minute. I'm across the room. It looks like my internet came back. I'm trying to get it back up.
Okay, let me know. We got about a minute 22 here, Bobby.
Well, we can stay on the phone till the other comes up.
All right.
But it looks like it's up, but I don't know.
Well, we'll take a look here. JSCO, how you doing? All right, we got 20 seconds, Bobby.
Yep. No, it's not up.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. We'll do it this way.
Okay.
I'll just have to be a little tricky with things. Okay, here we go, Bob. We are into the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Science Bob is back. We had to get him on the phone because his internet connection crashed right when we were talking about space agencies. So, hey, why not make it that way? Because, you know, it's always aliens or always the government. It's never anything normal. Right. I think we got Science Bob back here online. Bobby, up and running here?
Up and running. It just came back.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So thank you for that. And you ready for more audience questions? Because we're going to
Let's do it.
And here we go. If we integrate with technology that might do it for space exploration, you think?
You mean marry our bodies to technology?
I have no idea.
So I'm going to guess that's what he's talking about. If we integrate our persons with technology and become cybernetic organisms, that will be very helpful for space exploration and all sorts of other stuff. But of course, we need to worry about the downsides, and this has to be done carefully. But it would be a good thing to do, in my opinion, for all of humanity, as long as it's done with care.
Joe is asking, Science Bob, are you actually saying Elon Musk is doing a good thing here?
In my opinion, he is doing a thing that is literally going to save the ecosystem of the planet Earth.
Well, look at that. Would you look at that? Science Bob endorsed right there. Let's go to Wiruna down in Australia. What would be the reason for keeping a technology on the moon secret?
We don't own it or run it. It's owned by someone else.
Don't you think, though, there is a conglomerate of countries that kind of share it?
I believe there are a conglomerate of countries that are allowed to participate in it by whatever the NHI is that put it there in the beginning. The stuff that I am aware of has been there for thousands of years or longer.
Well, that just opened up a little bit of a can of worms there. How were you able to get that information?
People that visited Chris Bledsoe told him and showed him.
I get that. Okay, let's go over to another question. This one coming from Randy. When the band you're in starts playing different tunes, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. Oh, a good Pink Floyd song. Good job.
Such a great.
Necessary Dialogues asking, do you think the moon hoax is true then?
That we did not land on the moon? I know from my own personal technical activities, we landed on the moon.
Well, I believe that we did too. I just can't believe that all that technology, all the notes and everything were thrown into shredders or burned or whatever. I just don't believe that.
I don't either.
Kmart is asking a blue light special question here. Has there been any UAP reports out of Iran yet?
Yes. We've even seen videos.
Amazing how that happens.
Yep. We've seen videos of orbs and craft that are watching us bomb the crap out of Iran. And we have grotesquely underestimated the number of missiles and things they have. I mean, badly. They ran after 2 weeks of destroying everything in sight. They launched over 100 ballistic missiles at Tel Aviv in one night.
Mm-hmm. Whistling Mike wants to know, the FAFO, F-A-F-O, is the method of our adversaries. It's dangerous, but they catch up and discover new things. What is your thoughts on safety versus dangerous experiments to gain technological advantage?
We are nearly at a stalemate. It's time to roll the dice. We have the ability to integrate systems that can interoperate with new technology like no one else on Earth is even close to doing. We should roll the dice and go for it. And just leave them in the dust.
It's a vague comment. Are you talking about what's happening in the Middle East or happening in space?
All of the above. It is time to end these dictatorships. They have given us misery since the end of World War II. We fought one to a standstill, and we acted like we won and it was over. And that does not change the nature of man. These same places went back to dictatorships. It's time to put them permanently in their place. Or civilization will not advance as quickly as it could. We are harming the earth because we can't use our resources on things that's actually good for us.
Oh, come on, Bob. You want to party like it's $14.99 again, don't you?
No. No,
Okay.
I want to stomp the bad guys flat to the ground and then build a paradise.
All right, let's move on to the next question here. The next one comes from NHI. Is there any such thing as primitive NHI spacecraft from another timeline?
I am unaware of it.
It's a good question, though.
That's a great question. I'm just, you know me, I'm straight up. I've not heard this and I'm unaware of it.
You would think, to expand on that hypothetically, Bob, that if there was, you'd have to look at the polar ice caps first and foremost. And then next you'd have to search in areas that have very large glaciers.
So my opinion, I'm going to give you an opinion. This is not for knowledge. It's opinion based on technical expertise and other things. Any craft that got here from another star or another timeline is inherently not primitive. It's illogical.
I agree with you. I would agree with you. Even if they came here 100,000 years ago, that is not primitive technology. That would still be new technology to us.
Yep.
Jeremy is asking, what do you think then is in Antarctica?
Craft of some type and probably bases. There was this trip that Buzz Aldrin took to Antarctica and had to be medevaced out in a medical emergency, that cost a bloody fortune. They didn't go down there for a party. They went down there to observe something.
Let's go to Joe. Why were the original photos from the moon all blurred out and photoshopped in early days?
We were trying to keep the existence of non-human intelligence in and around Earth and on our moon secret. Why? I don't know the answer. But we know operationally they blurred them. So given that they blurred them, we have to just say the policy was to obfuscate anything that might lend credence to their existence. And it's not clear to me that it's not something like mantids and other things ordering us to keep things covered up.
All right, Bob, let's go to the next one here. Paramarv is asking, if we landed on the moon, then what about the rumor of Kubrick shooting black and white footage in the desert? Maybe a backup plan in case communications went out?
I don't know that, but that would make sense, is that Kubrick was tasked with taking a backup footage in case things went sideways.
This one keeps coming up, and this came up recently when I was doing an interview on WPHT in Philadelphia. If we landed on the moon, then why did that press conference after look more like a funeral? The astronauts looked shell-shocked.
Because of what we now know, they told everyone who was close to them what they saw on the moon. They saw non-human intelligence, and they saw craft just on the horizon, landed on the ground. We know that because they blabbed.
And apparently, for people who knew Neil Armstrong prior to that, he was a very gregarious, outgoing prankster, jokester, always the life of a party. Your prototypical test pilot, fighter pilot type of guy back then. You know, he was always about doing things that, you know, nobody else would do. And then after that meeting, he became very recluse and introverted. He didn't want the public.
I will never forget Michael Collins looking like he was stumbling not to blurt something out, and Neil reaching over and grabbing him and stopping him. Neil stopped him from talking. And he was the commander, and you obey the commander.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to that. And this is what bugs me about NASA. Okay, is that type of cover up. What would happen, Bob? I realize that Buzz Aldrin has a lifelong job with NASA. Okay, he still walks around there, at least he did a number of years ago, you know, working away and discussing with new engineers and about the space programs and everything. He's kind of a cult hero around NASA HQ. My question to you is, at his age now, why not give it up? Why not just say what they saw? You're the last one of the crew, and I get this whole patriot thing. Okay, he's a patriot. He's not going to break his NDAs. It's for loving God, a country. He swore an oath, and he's going to take that to his grave. But I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
He is exactly what you said. He's a patriot and wants to keep his oaths. His father was a straight arrow military guy, and he raised a son to be like that. And look, Buzz Aldrin, he struggled after he got back from the moon. He lost a wife and became a drunk. He struggled with what he was required to do. And he finally got over it, made a life for himself.
There are still other astronauts who've seen things. I mean, even look at the late Dr. Edgar Mitchell with the work he did for our field to try and bring some sort of credibility to it. Why do you think NASA then is shooting down its own people on this?
Because that's what they've been ordered to do by the National Security Council in the White House. And the members of the executive branch that are, in fact, the secret keepers.
Right.
That don't even tell the president the truth. They can be threatened just like everybody else, and they are.
I can see that. And I expect that, especially since they're short-term employees of the country.
Yep. That's the mentality.
Why not? Why not on that? All right, Bob, we are up with the questions. Hey, I'm wondering, because I haven't had a chance to review it all yet. What did you think about, did you see first the interaction between Dr. Eric Davis and Eric Weinstein regarding UFOs?
I missed part of it because you dropped out. Will you repeat that so I get it right?
Absolutely. Were you able to see any of the debate on UFOs between Eric Weinstein and
I watched every minute of it and co-hosted a 2.5 hour space after it in which Eric participated.
So give us the rundown of what happened there.
He gave a long-winded, reasoned set of arguments of why we have to have been lied to about all of this, and that it just makes no sense to him under any circumstances for why these programs don't have any physicists in them. And so I postulated stuff, and he does not like guessing. He will only work on things of this nature, like that he has data for. He crawled down my throat asking him, doesn't what you say imply that there's some truth to Bob's story about the reactor and the anti-gravity? And he jumped down my throat. Yeah. So, and please don't ask Dave, okay? I spent 2 hours today with Eric Davis. So we had a long conversation. We were supposed to be a 1 hour meeting, but we blabbed about all that for an hour. And they got along well. They've known each other for a long time. They've had a bunch of signal conversations back and forth. And what Eric Weinstein thought is that Eric Davis was going to come on and yield stuff that would talk about the legacy program and the physics that was there. And Eric Davis quite succinctly and definitively told him, I stay within my own bubble. I know gravitational theory of the Einstein non-Cartan variety, and that's what I work on. I don't try to go outside of it. I don't have the intuition it takes to go outside of it. Those were his exact words in the interview. So Missile Man, who was there and got to do a lot of stuff, and I led a space after in which Eric participated. We couldn't get Davis on, but I talked to Davis for over an hour today about that topic, and then we went on to work. And I'm not discussing the work.
No, that's fine. I won't press you on that, as we got about 6 minutes to go here. A lot of people believe that there was this great debate, in what I'm reading online about it, that Eric Davis was more postulating that we have it, whereas Weinstein was basically saying, the whole, where's the proof?
That's exactly right. That was what he was saying. Where's the proof? I want to see some proof. I don't want to be told about crap. I want to have some proof of crap. I want to know for a fact there's physics that needs to be understood, because he is desperate to escape our Einsteinian prison, the prison that's made by Einstein's general relativity, which says we cannot travel faster than the speed of light, because we will never reach another star system in any great way if we can't go faster than the speed of light. And that's what he's after. He believes that Lewis Whitten, John Wheeler, others work for Babbage and Benson at this sponsored activity on gravity in North Carolina. And their job was to figure out what people were doing so the insiders would know who to hide. And they took those people inside, like T. Townsend Brown and Lewis Whitten, and they never saw the light of day again in their career.
I want to read this comment from Mennonite Abe in our chat room, where he stated that he says, I really felt like Weinstein made Davis look like he was just relying on stories rather than facts. What's your thoughts on that, Bob?
Say it again.
Mennonite Abe is saying, I really felt like Weinstein made Davis look like he was just relying on stories rather than facts.
Davis has only ever, this was the revelation in the interview. Davis has not been on the inside. He had people who were on the inside tell him stories. He said that matter-of-factly in the interview. He never got inside. He got told stories from the inside by people he trusted. And again, trust me, bro, it's not what we need.
Did he get into the Wilson Davis notes?
He admitted it.
Finally.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot on the Wilson Davis notes for other
I
reasons.
understand the reasons. You look, you should have been the person who revealed it to the world, and you got screwed by people you trusted. Let me say it straight up.
Big time.
Big time screwed.
Big time. I'm still sore over that one, Bob. Not gonna lie.
You are an angelic saint for allowing them back in.
If you would have heard the conversation that I had with one of those people, people would be shocked. Dave, you actually talk that way? Oh yeah.
Especially that was the steal of a century.
So for people who don't know what Bob and I are talking about, we can mention names.
Yeah, it's too late now. Some of them are passed away.
The paranormal lawyer, Michael W. Hall, and Grant Cameron said on this show, when Michael was representing Grant, they told me privately, and they even kind of mentioned it on air, that they had these documents that they were going to break in 3 months on Spaced Out Radio, and it's going to blow the UFO story open. And next thing I know, Richard Dolan gets a piece of that information,
Which he had had for 15 years.
Yes, runs with it, and Michael W. Hall, God bless his soul, he runs to every other outlet to get on the air with them, starting with Jimmy Church, and I don't mean that as disrespect for Jimmy. And I find out about it 4 days later, and I'm like, Michael, what's going on? You literally told me that you were breaking this story on SOR. Why are you screwing me here? I waited quietly. And that's where the conversation started to get real ugly and nasty. So that's the story behind that. That's the juice behind why Wilson Davis has never really been discussed on this show, because I refuse to do it. Yes, it's all ego on that one, Bob. It is 100% all ego.
I get it. You got screwed, and it's painful.
Yeah.
I have never been able to understand how Michael Hall got to the places he got and the level he got. And I couldn't understand why he was so high in UAPX out off the California coast. I couldn't understand what he brought, and I still don't.
The lawyer topic.
I guess. To me, they are your servant. You use them not much.
Science Bob, it's always great to have you on the show. Coming up next, we have Swamp Dweller and Terry Hall.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Yeah, it doesn't sting as much as it used to, Bob, but it still does.
I know it does, and I don't blame you.
All right, buddy. You have a good night, okay?
Yep. Hang on 1 second. Okay, there we go. Good night.
Thank you. Science Bob, everybody. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's wait for Terry to get in here. Text. that. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave. Thank you tonight to Kmart ×2, Benno, Holly, T-Bone, Candace, Pam, and Mennonite Abe for the great super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support, guys. Thank you very, very much. And no ugly swag at our store. Nothing ugly there. So make sure you check it on out. I am Pam. I am Pam. Can't help it. I am Pam. Here we go, everybody. We are into the final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us as we get ready for Swamp Dweller and the weird news of the week. We appreciate you tuning us in. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? Well, here it is. Daphnomancy. Daphnomancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp.
The following experience happened a few years ago. The person I was dating at the time was Native American. They invited me to go with them to their grandmother's house for Christmas. This being the first time I have ever been to a Native American reservation, I was not sure what to expect. I had a lot of ideas regarding what might be, as well as the what-ifs. Nevertheless, excited to go somewhere I'd never been before, I was definitely stoked. Most of my excitement was reserved towards learning about the culture and the unique opportunity of visiting a reservation as an outsider. Because of this, I was also a bit nervous. What if I was not accepted? Would the people be welcoming, or would they be hostile towards my presence? Although these questions were lingering around my head, most of my fears were quelled by the wonderful hospitality I had been shown by both Grandma and the people I had the privilege to interact with whilst visiting. We left our house on Christmas Eve with our dog and started to make the 4-hour journey to Grandma's house. On the way, we saw a beautiful sunset scatter across the mountains. After traveling for around 3 hours, we found ourselves at the turnoff that leads to an hour-long drive on a desolate road that would eventually take us to our destination. While on this road, my significant other shared stories of dances and the polytheistic practices their tribe had. All of it fascinated me and left me asking more questions than I ever imagined asking. By the time we arrive at Grandma's house, it is dark and cold out. As I begin to unpack the car, my significant other takes our dog a bit away from the house to go potty. By the time they get back, I have taken our bags inside and locked the car up for the night. As we sit around the kitchen table eating food lovingly cooked by Grandma, we share stories and play a card game. After about an hour, we all say goodnight to one another and get ready to turn in for bed. Around 12 a.m. or so, my significant other and I lay down, and I call our dog to the bed. A short time thereafter, we fell asleep, although I forgot to turn off the light next to the bed on the nightstand. Around 2 to 3 a.m., I woke up having to use the restroom and noticed that our dog was sitting, just looking at the door that led out to the small hallway. On the other side was the main door to the house. I called for her to come back to bed, and she just put her nose at the base of the bedroom door, sniffing while scratching. Thinking that she too had to use the restroom, I walked up to the main house door and opened it, ushering her to go potty. She ended up just sitting there and staring. After trying to coax her to go outside a few times and failing in my attempts, I closed the door and made my way to the kitchen to grab a glass of water. In the kitchen, there is a huge window right next to the sink that overlooks the driveway to the house and a bit of light that makes the driveway barely visible at night. As I reach to turn on the faucet, my head turns to the right to look outside, and I see a dog sitting outside and staring into the house. Something was off about this dog, though. It was much larger than a typical large breed by at least 2 times. I began to get the chills and internally said to myself, F this. Grabbing my water and about to head back to the bed, the dog gets up and begins to walk away. One thing that I feel I might not convey well is how awkwardly this thing walked. It seemed to walk very gingerly and almost stiff-like. After making my way back to bed and falling asleep, I woke up the next morning. While eating breakfast Grandma had made, I nonchalantly asked anyone listening at the table if the neighbors had an extra large dog. That's when Grandma began to ask questions and my significant other started to look very concerned. Grandma immediately made a few phone calls, and after a bit of time passed, a native priest and healer arrived at the house and they began to converse silently with Grandma. Thinking I must have done something wrong, my significant other joins my grandma in the conversation. They all begin to look at me and talk more and more, and then the priest goes around the house with sage and cedar. The healer comes to talk with me and Grandma about my experience, and my significant other disappears outside the house to gather raw meat. From what I can gather, I encountered something I should not have the previous night, and by my arrival, being an outsider, they had to make certain preparations to ensure our safety from the duration of our stay. After this visit, we visited many other times, and I had no other weird experiences. But this experience left me chilled to the bone and will live with me for the rest of my life. I cannot get over how this dog behaved and how massive it was.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every day and night. As we head from the swamp, we head over to the Weird Desk as Terry Hall is here for the Weird News of the Week.
Terry Hall's got a mustache, standing by the board, curled up like a question mark, got secrets to be told. When you post the Bigfoot tracks, ghosts that won't behave, you throw me to the headlines like a cosmic wave. Weird news of the week, yes, strange and it's wild, from the edges of reality to the unexplained fall. With Terry Hall report, the stag and the sprawl, on Space Out Radio, let the Terry style touch it all.
Terry Hall, it's always good to have you here, my friend. How you doing?
That has got to be one of the best songs going right now, Dave. I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
I love the opening line, which is Terry Hall's got a mustache. Beautiful.
Yoink.
Just beautiful. We love your mustache around here. It's the mustache of power.
How's your week going this week, Bossaroni?
I've been doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You think you've been doing as good as the people in Camden, New Jersey?
With all the Bigfoots?
Oh, no, I bet you haven't, because I know that I haven't.
What's going on there?
In Camden, actually, they were doing the some water testing all around the New Jersey area. And it seems that the people in Camden, New Jersey are having a lot more fun and are a lot cooler than all the rest of us, because the cocaine in their water is 3 times higher than anywhere else in the United States.
Wow.
The Nantucket, and this is actually Nantucket, my mistake. Nantucket Current reported on February 19th that the island's occupants are having a much better time than you are. That was the line of the story. That's why it caught me. At least if wastewater data are your gauge. 8 months worth of readings show that the levels of cocaine in Nantucket sewage are 3 times higher than the national average. Nantucket Police Chief Jody Casper said the department is focusing on illicit drugs in general, not just cocaine. They have made a dent where we certainly understand that their narcotics industry is a supply and demand. So it seems to that the Gordon's fishermen's are having some aids to keep them awake, to keep our plates full.
Well, that's always nice. It's glad that they're sharing the wealth with the rest.
When you think of Nantucket, you think of like Pepperidge Farms Remembers, or and somebody out on a shrimp boat or something. But you don't think about 3 times the national average with nose candy.
Oh, my goodness.
It was just the way that they wrote the story that caught me is so funny. Is the opening line is, the island's occupants are having a much better time than you are.
Here's one that will make sure, Terry, you watch who you spread your tarot card messages to.
Mm-hmm.
A jury in Boise, Idaho, has awarded $10 million in damages to a University of Idaho professor who sued a Texas woman for defamation over fabricated claims she repeatedly made on social media that the academic was responsible for the Moscow college student murder. Yeah. The jurors deliberated for just under 2 hours before handing down their decision, which awarded Professor Rebecca Schofield far more than what her attorneys had asked for in their closing arguments. The 40-year-old testified that during a 4-day trial, federal trial, over monetary damages that she developed severe anxiety, PTSD, and intensive nerve pain throughout her body as a direct result of the false public accusations. The Moscow resident said the physical and emotional impacts made it difficult for her to work in her position as chairwoman of U of I's history department, and also caused irreversible reputation harm. So about 2 weeks into the investigation of 4 students who were stabbed to death in November 2022, defendant Ashley Guillard of Houston, Texas, created a series of videos she posted on TikTok in which she blamed Schofield. Guillard, who made her first visit to Idaho and represented herself at trial, believes herself to have psychic abilities and testified that she read tarot cards to try and help solve the shocking homicides that upended the rural college town and generated international attention. Guillard's readings led her to Schofield, she said, and her videos continued with similar unsubstantiated accusations all the way up until August 2025. Without evidence, Guillard posted photos and contact information for Schofield with claims that she had an affair with one of the female victims and tried to cover it up by ordering her death. The 7-member jury, composed of 4 women and 3 men, ruled unanimously for the dollar figure directed to Schofield. The bulk of the sum, $7.5 million, is for punitive damages, which are intended to punish the defendant and deter her and others from similar behavior in the future. The remainder of the damages, about $2.5 million, were compensatory, meaning they were covering all actual losses, including economic costs such as medical bills and non-economic costs such as mental and emotional pain and suffering. The financial total outstrips some other recent high-profile civil cases in Idaho. In 2024, a drag performer received $1.1 million in damages in a defamation case. Later that year, a jury awarded $4 million in damages to a coffee shop owner in a long-standing dispute with Boise State University. So the point of all of this that I'm looking at, Terry, and if you're one of these new psychics or psychic medium, stick to just doing personal readings. Okay? If you have something, follow it through. Follow it through.
I don't know. It seems to me like she followed hers through and it got her in a whole heck of a lot of trouble.
But what I'm saying though is this: follow it through with evidence, like hack together evidence to go along with your story. It's okay to sleuth. The internet is very good at sleuthing things together. Okay. Sometimes better than the police. But I mean, here's what I noticed, and I'm going to give an example here. Okay. A number of years ago, I had a listener, and I'm not going to mention their name, but this person would come into our chat room all the time. She had never had any experiences. She had never been psychic. When I had intuitive people on, she was always very inquisitive, saying, "Oh, I wish I had that ability. I wish I had." 6 months later, do you remember when Facebook Live started going, in Messenger, you could go on Facebook Live, and
Yes, sir, I do.
she started like 6 months later, no word of a lie. 6 months later, she started doing intuitive readings for people on Facebook Live. Okay. This was a person who 6 months previous said she had no ability whatsoever. And now she was doing readings. And most people who go for readings, and look, I consider myself intuitive. I don't do readings. Okay. I don't want to do readings. You're playing with people's lives, but there are a lot of people out there who go to intuitives because they have trauma in their own life that they just want some kind of help. Okay. Maybe they can't find a job. Maybe their spouse left them. Maybe they're not feeling well and they need some health advice or whatever. Okay. And I understand that a lot of intuitives take advantage of those people who are desperate right now. And I don't like that about the field. I think it's a terrible, terrible waste of a God-given gift.
There's been a couple of people that I've known throughout my lifetime that were, for lack of a better word, natural mediums. They were just tuned into that. One was my old neighbor Sally. One that what of course is you, Dave. Sally was the same way. She wouldn't touch a deck of tarot cards. She wouldn't go into the same room if there was a Ouija board in that room. That was just something that she didn't do because she was already open to it, and it was invasive for her. She was, one of those, honestly, I see dead people kind of people. Sally was that kind of person. But now, as far as like, let's say, astral projection or out of body experiences or remote viewing, for instance, according to Putoff and a few others in the industry, and the study at Stanton University, they say that you can actually, with enough practice, train yourself to be able to do some things like remote viewing, for instance. When it comes to see, Dave, that's the thing is I don't understand how that kind of, let's call it magic, works. Tarot cards. I know that I've never even had a reading because it frightens me. I've been warned away from them. It frightens me. So I don't know how that kind of stuff works, but it doesn't seem right. And like you said, for someone who come out after a period of 6 months and then all of a sudden they're Miss Sally and they've got their tarot cards. I don't know if you remember Miss Sally or not, but it was
oh yeah.
And she's got her magic tarot cards. I'm with you on that one. If you're just like I am with as far as the UFO industry and everything else, if you're in it to make a buck, quit. If you're just in it to make a buck and you're not in it because you're dealing with people's heartfelt beliefs, and that's not a thing to make a dollar on.
Well, you know what? I calmly believe that people need to be careful when they go to any sort of intuitive. Here's one thing that I've learned about a lot of intuitives out there, and this is one of the reasons why I trust very few. Okay. They can predict bad things happening at the snap of a finger. you're going through a tough time right now. And usually they blame it on Mercury retrograde or something along those lines. Not all of them. Now, I'm not saying this is for all psychics. I've met some very talented psychics. Example, recently we had Holly Hall on the air. She was incredible. Samantha Mowat is incredible. R. Keith Andrews, very good. Very good. Okay, just to name a couple.
And I do have a once in a blue moon thing that happens. Like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but even for someone like me, about 3 weeks ago, I'm standing in line at the store and then I'm going up to the cashier. And you know the little voice that you have in your head? It kept saying, ask her if she's got a brother in Arkansas. Ask her if she's got, I didn't know this lady from Adam. 2 minutes goes by and it's just this, no, I'm not going to ask. Yes, you are. First thing out of my mouth when I go to the register, you have a brother from Arkansas. Her face just dropped. And she said, what made you ask me that question? I told her, I don't know. It's just something that keeps telling me to ask you if you've got a brother from Arkansas. She said, yes, I do have a brother from Arkansas. Today is the day he died 5 years ago.
Oh, weird.
And it just so happens that today is also his birthday. And she told me, she said, my mother and I prayed this morning for some sort of sign to let us know that he was okay. And she said, you were that sign. Nothing like that ever happens to me. But, you know, there are those once in a blue moon things, Dave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the point that I was trying to make is a psychic, Terry, always seems to be able to predict the bad. Oh, you're going through a tough time right now. You're struggling at your job. I can feel your energy. You know, I know finances are tight for you. And a lot of them will get more into specifics. But everything good, if you listen to that psychic person, everything good is always 6, 8, 10, 12 months away. What you just got to get through this dark period, and then all of a sudden, everything is going to open up.
Right.
Everything is going to open up. And when you get to that 6, 8, 10, 12 point mark, then they're like, oh, well, you know, the energy shifted where Jupiter's now in retrograde and Charlie Brown missed the football from Lucy. Okay, now we have to wait again another 6, 8, 10, 12 months. And people get hooked on that. And people get hooked on readings. You know, when we used to have intuitives on this show back when we were much smaller, okay, I would watch people jump from intuitive room to intuitive room to intuitive room, getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 readings from psychics a day.
Mm-hmm.
That was their life because they were so hurting. You know who does that? People who are hurting, people who are lost, people who need just 1 minute of their life to go positive.
My neighbor Jennifer and her husband Steven actually got a divorce because of the psychic hotline. She had charged up on their telephone bill about $1,300 in a month. She was one of those kind of people that 6, 7, 8 readings a day.
Yeah.
And this was over several months. And it finally got to the point to where her psychic didn't see that one coming. I'll tell you that much, Dave.
Right? Oh, it's amazing. Just be careful. To our audience out there, look, there are a lot of talented intuitives out there. Okay. Some even charge for their services. I'm okay with that. I know some people aren't. But just be careful that they aren't sucking you in, and don't fall for the propaganda that you don't need to pay them extra money. You don't need to do that. Okay. Just be careful out there. Coming up next in the final half hour, Spaced Out Radio's Weird News of the Week with Terry Hall, we're going to get into stories of high strangeness, including flamingos in Las Vegas.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
I actually think I found a job for someone in our audience, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
And being an intuitive, I do believe would be a big plus. I will let you know about it here when we come back.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Now, I'm working with Justin in New Orleans, right?
Yes.
As far as the whole hitchhiker thing and everything. And a friend of mine turned me on to him. And this guy that I'm dealing with, apparently he works with a whole bunch of people in Hollywood and stuff. He's one of those kind of guys, right? Like guru kind of thing.
Right.
And so I do know that the person who was kind enough to get me in with Jay, there was a fee involved. And the guy told me, he's like, don't worry about what the cost is. I've got it for you, because I think what happened to you, I'm partially at fault. So it's the least that I can do. Right. But after about the first 3 months with Justin, he told me straight up, he's like, I'm not doing this for money. And so he's the real deal. He really is. And when you find someone like that, they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart because they care. They care. They want to help. They want to help make you better.
I agree. I know, like with Samantha Mowat, she has been so amazing towards, she's probably batting about 99% with me. Like, you want to know what makes a good psychic? I'll tell you right now. They finish your sentences because they already know what you're going to say. Claudette, how you doing?
That's one of the things that would crack me up about those psychic hotlines back in the day. And it was like, hi, how can I help you? And it's like, well, shouldn't you know that already? I shouldn't have to say a word. If you're really a psychic, I should just be able to sit here and be quiet and you tell me everything that I need to know if you're for real, for real.
I hear you there.
The Chinese have got another new invention that's, I don't know whether to laugh at it, I'm not offended by it. And I don't know if it's funny or if it's a really, really, really good invention.
Is this for your story or is this for?
Oh, no, this is another one that I found. Dude, looking at weird stories, I mean, you would not believe the amount of weird stuff that people do all the time. This is not a hard thing to do, Dave. What's hard about it is picking out the ones that we should talk about. I mean, there was a cheesesteak place in Camden, New Jersey, where I guess one of the main attraction was a walrus baculum. And for those who are not in the know, a walrus baculum, walrus has a penis bone. And someone stole their penis bone. I mean, people do weird stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. It's kind of neat that they call it a baculum, though. How do scientists come up with weird names, man?
I don't know.
Is that part of the curriculum? Is Weird Names 101?
I believe so. I believe so.
So how's the snow treating you up there? Is it melting away yet, or is it still coming?
It was melting away, and we got hit this afternoon with another inch. It's like, man, I mean, it's not. We're at the point now where it's not going to last. We get these what we call faux springs.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in. We usually get about 2 or 3 of those before spring finally sets in.
I actually had to kick the generator on tonight. We're running on it right now. We've got a really heavy-duty windstorm going on right now.
Wow.
And it killed the power. I was like, about 5 minutes before I needed to come in into the studio. It's like, oh no, generator, kick on. Thank you.
We got 20 seconds here, buddy. Thank you to our super chatters tonight. Holly, Kmart ×2, T-Bone, Candace, Pam, Mennonite Abe, and Benno. Appreciate the love, guys. Thank you very, very much. CaribouCon, go get your tickets. It's worth it. CaribouCon.com. Here we go. Here we go. The final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's the weird news of the week. We bring in Terry Hall here hanging out with us and his beautiful mustache, which brings you the high strangeness that people conduct each and every week to make this segment just perfect. Just perfect, Terry. What do you got for us?
Now, you were talking in the last story about being intuitive. And I think being intuitive would be a very good thing to have with this one, because this is a job, and I think it's right up the people in Spaced Out Radio's alley. So if you're looking for a job, the Smithsonian Magazine reported on January 7th that the British Museum has job openings dedicated treasure hunters. It seems that in 2023, the museum revealed that 1,500 of its Greek and Roman artifacts had been stolen or missing or had been damaged. The items include gems, glass, jewelry, dating back between the 15th and 19th centuries BC. We want to get as much staffing as we can to try to push ahead, said Thomas Harrison, head of the museum's Greek and Roman collection. About 600 pieces have been recovered already after being listed on eBay or coming up for auction. No information on the qualifications for such a position, although owning a fedora and a whip and being an intuitive could not hurt.
Oh my. Because, you know, the fedora and the whip are very important objects for being intuitive.
For being a treasure hunter, at least.
Well, exactly, man. Exactly. So I put my fedora on as we speak.
You know, I saw one of your thumbnails the other day, and I could have swore it was Indiana Jones, and I had to look twice, and nope, it was Dave Scott.
There it is.
Now,
that's
Chinese,
one thing I love about AI.
you have been having fun with AI and those thumbnails lately. I gotta admit, they're looking awesome, Dave. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is another story that I think that we need to discuss, and it's not so much a weird story, but it has to do with free speech in the internet as of late, and radio stations and shows such as yours. There have been stories circulating as of recently, even the very, very large podcasters and even news stations who report on these types of subject have been getting shadow banned. And I know personally of two folks who were making a very decent living as content creators, reporting on what we consider to be the truth in and about these subjects. And you discuss things that mainstream media wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, Dave, because sometimes they don't fit the woke subjects. And so more and more recently, there have been bans. People have woke up and their Patreon accounts are just completely gone. They wake up and they have been banned on platforms with no hope of getting to come back.
That's strange.
Yes.
I hadn't heard that one before.
Yes. As a matter of fact, one of our good friends of the show, Carl Crusher,
yes.
We were having a discussion about it the other day, and Carl, and you know that Carl had several different things going on and was quite comfortable with what he was doing. But Carl has recently had to take a job where he lives to make ends meet, because they are crushing these kind of shows in the algorithms now.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It's the UFO, cryptid, and paranormal channels, which really helped build the entire industry, especially with YouTube. The algorithms have shifted big time. I was talking to one podcaster who has been a guest on this show. I'm going to keep him quiet right now. He's lost almost 2/3 of his audience. Almost 2/3 of his audience regarding he would average probably between 8 and 15,000 listeners an episode. Now he's lucky to get 3,000, if that.
And it's not anything that you guys have changed. Your platforms have remained the same. The quality of the shows have not. If anything, they've gotten better.
I agree.
But and it goes back into something that I heard discussed the other day as well, Dave. And this goes back to the black budget things. We've all heard about the Byfield-Brown effect and T. Townsend Brown, how he discovered anti-gravity. They worked together with a team in NASA in the late 60s and early 70s. They had figured out how to make something float, but they hadn't figured out how to steer it yet. Well, in the 60s and 70s, they did figure out how to steer it. So this is another thing that has come up here recently, and it's gaining a lot of traction in behind closed doors in Washington, that the whole UFO thing has been a cover-up for the black budget programs the whole time. Have you heard that story here?
I had not heard that one. Wow.
Well, once they figured out the Byfield-Brown effect, how to make something float, then they figured out how to put a steering wheel into it.
That's all you need is a steering wheel.
And then, we discussed last week that, right before 9/11 on 9/10, they came out and said they couldn't track $2 trillion. Well, last week we also found out that they said they had spent $21 trillion on their little lizard cage for all the reptilian overlords, which is another untrackable fund spending that could be going to these kind of things that we've been seeing in the skies, but who knows how many of them belong to us now.
I hear you there. Let's go to another story here, because there's a Canadian dude acting like Florida man.
I heard about this guy.
Yeah. So a Canadian tourist from Ontario is facing animal cruelty charges in Las Vegas after police allege he broke into the Flamingo Hotel's wildlife habitat, chased several flamingos, and carried one of the birds back to his room. Officials with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police say the incident happened on March 3rd, shortly after 5 a.m. Nothing good happens in Vegas at 5 a.m. I'm just letting you know that. And it is, apparently, according to documents, police say the surveillance footage and videos recovered from the man's cell phone shows a series of encounters with the birds inside the habitat at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and later at the hotel hallway in his room. Officials say that the bird suffered injuries after the man attempted to pop its wing back into place. As a result, the Canadian tourist, identified as Mitchell Grant Fairbairn, who took Vegas just a little too seriously, was arrested. And he has had to surrender his passport. He is charged with 4 counts of willful or malicious torture and maiming and killing an animal, even though the animal survived. Yeah, he's not doing too well.
When I first heard this story, I that's what I had heard, that he had actually killed the bird, but apparently not.
Yeah. So, yeah. The flamingo eventually escaped, swam away. How did that happen?
Well, that's why you don't drink cheap well drinks in Vegas.
This guy's not doing Vegas well. Let's just be honest. The guy is not doing Vegas very well. When you're stealing a flamingo, I mean, look, some people will say he did a great job, and look, as somebody who loves Las Vegas, travel there annually, you got to go hard or go home. But there is a limit to that.
Well, you know how you can be in the mall and you're there with the wife, they're running around, and Dave, you get that nicotine craving, Sometimes it's too far to run back out to the car, and every once in a while, people do tend to sneak, especially in China, into the restrooms in China and sneak a smoke in the bathrooms. Well, a Chinese shopping center has solved that problem of people smoking in the restrooms. The Shubai International posted signs reading, their bathroom stalls don't have metal doors like ours do here in the States. They have glass doors that turn opaque when they know that someone is in that room. You know, the kind of glass that goes from clear to cloudy. You've seen it before. Well, when smoke is detected in the restroom, the special doors become see-through. So now they have bathroom cops waiting for doors to go clear to issue tickets to people who go into their restroom and smoke.
My goodness. That would be terrible if you're like right in the middle of doing business too.
That's what I was thinking. You're sitting there, you know, you're trying to light up. Maybe you're trying to do that to like maybe kill some other smells around and just have the tobacco linger, or maybe even a match. But nope, that's not apparently, you can't do that in China anymore.
Terry, we have major controversy coming out of the country of Oman.
Okay.
A beauty pageant for camels has plunged into chaos as 20 of the competitors were disqualified after their owners enhanced their humps and other features using injectable fillers such as silicone wax and Botox. I'm not making this up. So, last month, veterinary inspectors at the 2026 Camel Beauty Show Festival in Al Musana, Oman, discovered that the camels had undergone several cosmetic procedures to enlarge the size of their humps, using a mix of injectables similar to dermal fillers used on humans. According to Vice and Forbes, the disqualified camels had received a mix of injectables, including hyaluronic acid injections for pouty lips, dermal fillers around their nose, Botox to soften their face, and silicone wax to inflate their humps. Festival organizers have said they are working to halt all acts of tampering and deception in the beautification of camels, adding that they would impose strict penalties on manipulators going forward. The camels are judged on 4 key features: their coat, their neck, their head, and their humps. My lovely lady lumps. Oh, I'm sorry, I just went black-eyed peas. All right. The winning animals usually have the shiniest hair, a long and muscular neck, long eyelashes, and plump lips. And of course, plump and defined humps. My hump, my hump, my humps. Yeah. So these guys are in trouble. The camel breeding industry is taking big shots at the pageants, saying that since the trophy comes with a multi-million-dollar prize pot, investment, and increased tourism, winning this event also increases the value of the camel when it goes on sale, and also includes cheating. Yeah. These types of enhancements have been rife in the camel breeding industry in recent years, with officials at the 40-day-long King Abdul Aziz Camel Festival in Saudi Arabia, the largest in the world, barring owners from enhancing lips, noses, heads, and body parts of the animal. At that festival, there's usually more than $60 million of prize money at stake. $60 million for a camel pageant.
That brings to mind the whole scandal in the fishing contest when they caught those 3 fishermen that were artificially, they were putting lead weights in the fish that they caught to add to that weight at the end, and they won several contests, but they got in a lot of legal trouble over that.
I watched that. They were stuffing in a bass competitions. They were stuffing lead weights down into the stomachs of the fish.
That's it. That's the one. But
So-
I bet you they never thought about Botox.
No.
Botox in it. I mean, what kind of training are they doing that you can get a camel to stand still enough to let somebody stick Botox in its face, man?
I have no idea, my man. No idea.
Well, I tell you what, we can stick with animal stories because Ronaldo, a man from Cabezal, Brazil, was walking to work when two vicious dogs attacked him. Ratapati reported on February 26th the dogs lunged at him as he fought them off. One bit down on his cell phone in his shorts pocket, which turned out to be very fortuitous. The phone exploded, scaring the dogs off. The moment was terrifying, but that very mobile phone saved my life, Ronaldo said. He did sustain some minor burns on his legs, and the dog's owner apologized and agreed to cover the medical expenses. But thank God Sony has bad batteries in their phones, I guess, Dave.
No kidding.
But can you imagine that? I mean, you're walking to work, two great big, vicious dogs, according to him. They didn't say big, but I can't imagine they were ankle biters. They're attacking you. They bite your phone, and the phone explodes. You end up getting burned, but you're happy that your phone exploded. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone being pleased that their cell phone exploded while it was in their pocket.
Yeah, I just don't want that happening. I really don't want that happening at all. All right, my final story for you tonight, Terry, comes from California, because West Coast Florida people are always entertaining just as well.
West Coast Florida people can be worse than Florida people.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
An alert police officer with the California Highway Patrol narrowly avoided being struck by a distracted driver who collided with the back of a stopped patrol car last week in San Mateo, authorities said. The driver reportedly told the highway patrol officer that while he was driving, he wasn't paying attention to the road. You see, he was actually watching YouTube videos and didn't see the road flares or the patrol vehicle lights. The collision, which was caught on officer-worn body camera video, occurred on the night of March 3rd while officers were working to clear the road after a 3-vehicle crash on Highway 101. Road flares had been set up in the closed right lanes on the roadway, but CHP said an officer noticed the driver of a white pickup truck appear to disregard them and stepped out of the way. The video then shows the truck slam directly into the back of a CHP vehicle. The driver of the truck was uninjured in the crash, according to authorities, but California Highway Patrol is using the incident to remind drivers to keep their eyes on the road. Maybe watching YouTube is not the best thing to be doing at that time. Thankfully, the officers had a great safety awareness and were watching oncoming traffic. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was killed. But I don't know. Who does that?
I see it a lot. No, I see it a lot. I see it a lot. As a matter of fact, one of my own kids was guilty of it and got into 2 different car accidents because of it. Before they learned their lesson. And you did say Highway 101, right, Dave?
Yes.
That's Pacific Coast Highway, the one that goes up the whole coast of California. I can see. I could pick out a lot better things to look at than YouTube videos when I'm driving. If I'm going up PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, that's one of the most beautiful scenic highways in the entire country.
It is.
But man, it must have been one heck of an intriguing video for him to miss cones and everything else. He must have really been into it.
My question is this. If he has Bluetooth on his stereo, he can hook up the audio and listen to it. Or there's a little thing on your phone called music where if you've downloaded music, you can play it for free. You can play your Spotify account. There's a lot you can do at that time when you're driving. I don't see it being a very smart thing to be watching YouTube videos or playing video games or putting on makeup or reading a book. This is how we end up with stupid laws like we have in British Columbia here, that legally you're not even allowed to have a beverage in your car.
Well, here you're talking about law enforcement. It's Long Island, New York. Grandfather. Now, this is a smart granddad, David. This one's quick. This is a smart granddad. He had a vanity license plate that he had for years, and it reads as such, PB4WEGO. He got that when his grandchildren got old enough to start going on long trips with him. Mm-hmm. Now, if you break it down, and in Long Island, they told him after him having the plate for almost 10 years that he couldn't have it anymore. And it's because it's PB4WEGO was clues to his grandchildren to pee before we go.
That's a brilliant plate.
In all the years as a parent and now grandparent, the worst I've ever gotten is a gentle roll of the eyes from my kids and grandchildren. The governor, Kathy Hochul, told to the gentleman on the phone, and she told him that I promise you I will get you your plate back.
Well, that's good.
That's good. But I thought that was pretty clever. PB4 we go. Now, that one is good to go.
Terry Hall, thank you for sharing great weird news of the week with us this week. Always appreciate your great knowledge on the subject of weird people around the world. As we say goodnight to Terry, and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Terry Hall.
Thanks, sir.
Before we go.
Yeah, you know, as far as the weird goes, there's a reason why aliens keep resetting this planet.
Right?
There's a definite reason why they keep resetting this planet, man. I tell you what.
Right?
Well, thanks for having me again, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, wonderful rest of your week.
That's good, man. I'm
jetting, Sir Dave. Have a great night. I will talk at you tomorrow.
Absolutely, you will, my friend. See you soon. Terry Hall, everybody. One of the good guys in town. You know, he's the kind of guy that you can, share a story with. That's all good. Just share that story with Terry Hall. Share it, share it, share it. Share it, share it, share it. All right. So let's go like this. So I butchered the entire thing here. What am I doing here? This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing right there. Oh, it's still not up. It's still not up. There we go. There it is. There it is. Well, let's change the title here. Let's go to March 11. Oh, stop. March 11. There we go. Got that. Publish right now. There we go. Well, did it download or no? Probably not because it was too fast. There we go. Fun night tonight. A fun night tonight. What do you want to talk about? We're just sitting here, hanging out. What you want to talk about? Do we want to talk about FAP's collection of belly button lint? Oh, that's what I did wrong. Copy. Paste. There we go. We're still waiting to find out what's happened to the General Dry Toast, the best name on YouTube. He's vanished. We don't know where he is, what's going on. What's been going on at the African watering hole? Let's take a look here. Let's Home. Let's go live because it'll be morning there. See what's happening. Hold on. We got to get through the commercial here. Oh, just one bird. Oh, that one. Hold on. Nothing at that one. Hold on. Let's see what else we got going on here. Nothing at Tembe. Nothing at that watering hole either. Where's all the friggin' animals? Hold on. We're going to find some here. Hold on. This is ridiculous. Let's go to King's Camp. Oh, this is a highlight. But this is a good one. This is a good highlight here. Let me get it to you guys. There we go. How gorgeous is that? How gorgeous is that right now? Try Rosie's pan. Although lions are pretty cool. We don't get a lot of lions on here. All right, let's try and find something else here. These are just highlights anyways. I want the more natural stuff. Let's go to, what is this one? Oh, what do we have here? Are those hippos? Is that what that is? A hippo? I think that's what we got. We got hippos there. Well, that's pretty boring hippo stuff right there. Okay, this one's boring. Can we agree? Oh, what is that? Is that an elephant? That might be an elephant there. Or a hippo. One of the two. Let's go look for something else here. All right. Let's go to Tau. See what's happening there. What do we got here? Little monkey. Is that a bird at the bottom there? Looks like some ibex. I don't know. I do not know. Okay, we'll check one more channel and then I gotta get going here because I'm getting pretty tired. Oh. We have an oryx. I like the oryx. That's one of my favorites there. We have an oryx. Tomorrow night on the show, Bigfoot Dogman researcher Daniel Benoit will be here. We're going to have a good time with him. I'm going to be on his show on Saturday night on his channel. So we're going to have we're going to have a lot of good times talking Bigfoot in the next couple of days here. So make sure you check it on out. Thank you tonight to T-Bone, Benno, Holly, Kmart ×2, Mennonite Abe, Pam, and Candace for the super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support. And thank you all for being here tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Have a good one. And if you don't mind, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up and let us know what you thought of tonight's show with Science Bob. Leave a comment after the show. See you later.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.